my name is Esther. This is my knitting podcast. This is number 9, I think. Today is July 1st. It's around 1 p.m. ish. And yeah, I usually do my updates about every 2 weeks, but this time it's been 3 weeks. Last week I was sick. So theoretically I should have more done, but that's not what happened. So let's just go straight into it. So I have 2 finished objects. One is a gift knit, so it's already been packed away. I knit the Manhattan hat, the worsted weight by Tori Yu. I used some super old stash acrylic from years ago. I used a US 9. It took about 70 to 80 grams. And yeah, it's a Christmas gift. It's already been, I put all my Christmas gifts in like a corner of the room so that I know that they're all there. So yeah, it's already been done. I really love the Manhattan hat pattern. I've knit multiple. It's a great hat pattern, especially for people that you can't measure their circumference, because it's an all over ribbed hat, so you don't have to really worry about it not fitting properly. So, and she has multiple versions of it for multiple sizes. It's a great gift pattern. And my second finished object is my Penguono, which I have right here. This is a pattern by Stephen West. I used either fingering weight held double or DK or worsted held single on a US 9. This jacket is not the easiest to show you, but here's it from the back. So it has the back pattern, the welts, the sleeves. This is the right front, and then the left front is right here, and it has an I-cord all the way around. This is a great pattern, especially for if you're like losing your knitting mojo or you just have a ton of scraps. It is all garter or seed stitch. There are I-cord finishings all the way around the borders and as well as the sleeves. And it is like a hefty project. So this project, like, I don't know if you could tell in the video, but it's like a weighted blanket, and it's so cozy. It's just so great to wear just around the house. It is a little warm to be wearing it outside, but around the house it's so cozy. It's like a blanket in jacket form. I absolutely love it. I wrote very extensive notes on my project page, mainly because I plan on knitting another one, so I want to make sure I keep as accurate notes as possible. But to go over some general stats, this jacket took me 42 days to knit, which is fast for a knitted garment for me. But it's not surprising that it took me so fast, because I was very motivated to finish this, and I did knit this on US 9, so it has a relatively loose gauge, but you can't really tell the loose gauge of it because it is seed or garter everywhere. So you can't really tell, but you can feel it, like the gauge. I used all superwash yarn, all scraps, all superwash, except for my shoulder panels, which are right here, because I knew that the shoulder panels would take a lot of weight, especially when you're wearing the garment. So I used non-superwash. That's the only section. So theoretically, as I wear this and keep it over time, the shoulder panels will get stronger, which will be great because I do plan on keeping this for a very long time. I cannot tell you what yarns I used in each section. I do have all the yarns I used in the entire project in my Ravelry project page. And I also wrote down how many grams each section took, approximate grams, because again, this is all scraps. But yeah, I would highly recommend it. It's such a fun project, and it's so cozy to wear. It's a little warm to wear right now, but yeah, it's so much fun. Like, you can wear this upside down so that the bottom border ends up being your collar section, but I prefer wearing it just this way with the verticalness of the stripes. So yeah, I haven't woven in all my ends. Most of my ends in this are knitted in, so the ends are very minimal. But yeah, I love it. It's so great to wear. It did grow a lot when blocking. I did wet block it, by the way, because I did want the drapiness of the jacket itself. So wet blocking did give me the drape, and it did grow. So it hits hip length now. If I stand up, it's about hip length. I think I'm probably knit between probably a medium. I'm guessing that the chest circumference is around, like, I want to say like 50 inches, maybe 52, probably a little bit more. So that's what at my gauge US 9 with fingering held double did for me. So yeah, this is my pink Mono. I love it. So those are my two finished objects. Next, going into whips. So I have not made as much progress on my whips as I would like. I was sick, so I guess it's not super surprising, but you're not going to see that much progress. And I do have one new whip, which has a lot of progress. So let's just go into it. The first one I'll show you are my socks. I am participating in summer sock camp. I do every year, so socks will be probably featured in every podcast for the summertime. These are the Freckled Whimsy Halloween Club for May of this year. I believe the Halloween Club is new for this year. I don't remember the colorway name, but I do know it was for May. And I did the heel to a do-si-do pattern, so you can see the chevron pattern for the front, and then it's just plain stockinette for the back. And then I did a heel flap and gusset. For self-striping socks, I pulled from the center for the actual sock part, and then for the heel, I pull from the outside. So the heel is self-striping in the opposite direction. Yeah, I don't know why that took me so long to say. So when I'm wearing the socks, you can't actually tell that the heel is mirroring the stripes. So I knit the 72 stitch of the pattern. I have 16 rounds 1x1 rib for the cuff. I do the tubular cast on for my cuff down socks. 60 rounds for the leg, the heel flap and gusset as followed by the pattern. 80 rounds for the foot, and then I do a rounded toe. I do wear a US 6.5 women's wide. So those are my numbers. I have not woven in my ends, as you can tell, but this is blocking, so I'm not really worried about weaving in my ends in general for socks anyway. And I do have the second on my needles. So I am knitting this in US 1s on Magic Loop on my 32-inch Knit Picks. These are Knit Picks needles, I believe. And I'm just on the cuff. I do not have these matching. It's just where I ended up on this pair is where I start on the second pair. I'm not that precious about self-striping being matching, especially if it's so far. This is a 12 stripe repeat, so it would be a while for me to be able to get it to the beginning. Yeah, and it's just too much hassle. So yeah, I'm just on the cuff. I'm not in a rush to finish these socks. I'm not in a rush to finish any socks, really. It's a little too hot to wear socks anyway. And as much as I love Summer Sock Camp, I don't really have a goal of finishing a certain number of socks. I just have the goal of knitting socks. So yeah, I'm not that worried about it. It'll happen when it happens. So that's my sock whip. I keep my sock ruler around my little sock ball too. That's what keeps it all cinched together, and it's super easy and compact to put in my purse. The second whip that you guys have seen would probably be my my updated tessellated vest. So I knit the tessellated vest for Rhinebeck last year. I finished it, I wore it, was in the picture, great. But I knew while I was wearing it at Rhinebeck that it was a little short in the yoke. So I ripped out the yoke and I'm re-knitting it. So that's where I'm at now. So I finished the re-knit parts, the front panels, so the re-knit shoulders, and now I am on the back. So I need to finish the back, 3 needle bind off with the shoulders, and then I need to do the ribbing around the armholes and the neck, and then I will have a tessellated vest that actually fits my dimensions properly. So yeah, this is probably like 1 weekend worth of work. Like I could totally get this done in time. I'm just not very motivated to finish it because it's so hot outside. I think we're in, well, I know that we hit the heat wave last week. I believe it's gonna cool down this week, but it's still so hot. So I'm not really motivated. But yeah, my tessellated, it's on its way. It will be done. I just need to invest just like a little bit of time into it. But yeah, I do have all my ramen noodles right here. I know that you're supposed to relax your yarn after you frog something. I'm not too precious about it. I do have extra, like I have plenty of extra of all 3 of these colorways, so I'm not too worried about it if the ramen noodly parts like mess up something. It's just as is. But I'm just loving, I forgot how beautiful this vest is. Just like the mosaic color work of it, and it's beautiful. The colors in this are Portland wool, Portland yarn. That's the main color is in Huntress. The Spin Cycle is in the Royal Mile by Spin Cycle at Fiberspace in Alexandria. It's their exclusive colorway. And then the contrasting, like the light green pops, that is, I know the color is pistachio. I can't remember the yarn maker. I do have it all in my project page, so it's all on my Ravelry page. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head. But yeah, I just love how all these 3 colors work together. And yeah, I'm just not very motivated to finish it. It's too hot. Okay, and then my last whip that you have seen is the Vertices Unite, in which I have done some progress on. I am back to knitting my little Vertices Unite. This is a pattern by Stephen West. Did I say where all the other patterns are from? The tessellated vest, this one is a pattern by Andrea Mowry. It was her Rhinebeck pattern for 2023. And then the sock pattern is the Heel Toe Dosido by the Crazy Sock Lady. Wow, I am really out of practice. This is the Vertices Unite pattern by Stephen West. It is a modular shawl. knit with 5 colors. I'm currently just on section 1, which only requires 2 colors. I do have the ball bands right here. So the green, the dark green color, the dark green is Brooklyn, Luminous Brooklyn in the colorway Orion. And then the speckled cream color with the orange speckling is 29 Bridges in the colorway Cider. So yeah, I'm just on section 1. I am told that section 1 is the longest section in the shawl. So, but it is a Stephen West shawl pattern and they typically take a long time anyway, so I'm not that rushed. It'll happen when it happens. It's a really nice garter pattern that's just mindless, continually just knitting. So yeah, those are my 3 WIPs that have been on the podcast before. Any other WIPs that I have shown in the podcast previously have not gotten any work done. That's just how like this sometimes. And now I have 2 new WIPs that have not been shown on any podcast. So to start, I'll do the one that's closest to me. So this is the beginning of a half and half triangles wrap by Pearl Soho. I am still just on the first section. If you have knit the half and half triangles wrap, you know that's a very, very, very large garter. I believe they label it as a shawl. It's almost like a blanket, but yeah. And I cast it on 24 stitches. I am using some stash yarn that I have, and I'm gonna do this in a color blocking manner. So I have this little stitch marker right here, if I can flip over, and that marks 20 stitches. So every 20 stitches I'm gonna put another marker, and that's where I'll do the color change. So I'm still haven't even gotten to my first color change yet. And I'm just using some stash yarn that I have from Yarn Bee. It is a acrylic wool nylon blend. So it's not 100% wool, but the acrylic wool nylon is going to be really soft and really nice for like a comfort knit, just straight garter shawl knitting. I'm not too precious about it. I'm not like a 100% only wool knitter in general, so it's like, sorry, I might as well get a few stitches in. So I have no problems with knitting with acrylic blends. Plus, it'll use up some yarn from my stash, and the half and half triangles wrap uses a lot of yarn, so it'll be nice. Oh, the needles. Wow. So the needles, I'm using US 4s, the Addi Turbos. It's the square needles. I'm not sure if they're the turbos. And I'm using US 4s, and this is fingering weight. I believe the pattern calls for US 3s, but I don't want to use US 3s, so I'm using US 4s. I really have no other reason other than I don't want to. So that is my half and half triangles wrap. And my second WIP that's new is a garment. I know I was saying how hot it is, and so this is a little counterintuitive, but I am knitting a 100% wool sweater in this freaking heat wave. This is the Highline Henley by Tori Yu, and I'm knitting this in pure Gint. Let me see if I can get a ball band out. Okay. Yeah, Senna's Garn Pure Gint, and I'm using 3 colorways. Let me see if I can figure out which colors, because they're all numbers, which is not very helpful, honestly. Okay. So 3 colors I am using is, so the gray is colorway number 2650. The red is, let me see. The red is well, the red is more like an orangey red. It's not like red, like lipstick red. It's more like a bright fiery orangey red. It's colorway 3819. In this blue that has some slight like slight variegation. You can see it more in person than on video. That's colorway number 6035. They're all Senesgarn Pure Gent. I am doing 3 colors. The pattern calls for you can either do a 2-color version or a 4-color version, and I'm just taking my own colorways and did 3 colors. It kind of is very patriotic. That was not my intention, but that's just how it ended up being. It is a drop shoulder picked up, and then you pick up the collar, and then you do the Henley section, which is right here. I just finished the collar, so the collar is not blocked. I'm hoping that blocking it will stretch it out a little and make it a little bit more even. And now I am on the sleeves. So I just picked up for the sleeves like maybe a couple of hours ago. And yeah, I've already tried it on. I know I need the collar to be blocked to really have a full gauge on how it'll feel. Right now the collar feels a little tight, but I know blocking it will make it a little bit easier to wear on and off. And yeah, I love Tori Yu's patterns. She's the same designer as the Manhattan hat, so I've knit multiple of her patterns before. And it's a great fitting garment. I'm knitting the 3rd size, which would give me the accurate amount of ease that is recommended in the pattern. And I am knitting it on US 6s, which I believe is 1 size down from the pattern recommendation. But it works out fine because I actually hit gauge on US 6s. And yeah, I think these colors work out so beautifully together. Like the blue and the gray are super muted, and then the red is super fiery. So like from a distance you can't really tell that it's 3 colors, but like up close you can totally tell that there's a light blue in the mix. And this might be just me tooting my own horn, but I just love how like I picked up the stitches. Like it's just so clean. And I followed her instructions exactly, so yeah, I'm loving the picked up, like the edge. It's just so neat. She does recommend in her pattern to cut the yarn at each stripe for the yoke. I did not, so that's the only part that I didn't follow the pattern exactly as stated. I would, if I could go back, I would cut the yarn at each stripe for the yoke. As annoying as weaving in those ends is, it was very tedious to pick up the stitches with the yarn being carried over. So that is something to note. Another thing, since I'm doing three colors instead of 4, her pattern is written for 4 colors or 2 colors. So if you're going to do 3 colors, I followed the 4-color pattern, and then when you pick up for the front, you should pick up with your contrast color 1. I did my contrast color 2, which resulted, I did my math wrong. This was all on me. This is me trying to do math and read English while having a fever. It was not a good mix, but if I could go back, I would pick up with contrast number 1 instead of contrast number 2 if you're doing the 3-color following the 4-color pattern. I hope that made sense. That seemed really jarbled. So this is the shoulder right here. I should have started with the red instead of the blue right here, but I didn't. So that results in my yoke on the front I decided to lengthen the yoke in the front by 4 rows, which gives my Henley, like this part of the front, I made it longer. Well, I made it longer by 4 stitches. I extended it by 4 rows. I made it longer by 4 stitches. Yeah, the maths for that. So that would be what I recommend. In that, I did write all of that in my project page. What else is there? There's really nothing else. I don't have my buttons on the sweater yet, but I did select my buttons. I picked these buttons out at Rhinebeck last year. These are smaller than what she recommends. However, I think it's gonna look really nice, like on this little Henley part. So, and she does utilize the 3-stitch buttonhole for the pattern, and these buttons will fit in that pattern, in that buttonhole. So I'm not that worried about them. But yeah, I chose these little glass buttons. They're not all the same, but they're all the same circumference. So I think it's gonna give my sweater a little bit of something of interest. And yeah, I'm on the sleeve. I am gonna run into slight yarn chicken. So I bought 100 grams of each contrast color, and then 2, 4, 6, 300 grams of the main color. I think I have enough for the main color. I'm not worried about the main color at all, really. I'm worried about the contrast, because so where I stopped at the yoke is the end of my 50 grams of the contrast colors, both the red and the blue. You can tell where I blocked and where I haven't. And then, so I'm working on the sleeves now, because I want to make sure I have full-length sleeves. I'm gonna finish both sleeves and then go back to the body and try to lengthen as much of the body as possible with the yarn I have left, because I really don't want to go and buy more yarn, because I feel like this should be enough. But I'll be cutting it close. That's for sure. That's why I did the collar. That's why I stopped the body midway to do the sleeves. And there is a reason for it. So yeah. We shall see. Oh, because I lengthened the yoke, I also increased the sleeve circumference, which is actually better for me, because I don't like when my sleeves are too close to my underarm. I believe the sleeve is lengthened, or the sleeve pickup has been increased by 6 stitches, which will give me about 1 inch more in circumference. So the sleeve should be around 8¼ inch circumference, or 8¼ like length. So what would that be? 16½ circumference. So hopefully that will give me a really nice big armhole, so that I don't feel claustrophobic in my arms. And so yeah, that's everything. I have everything, all of my projects right now. I have very extensive Ravelry notes in my Ravelry page, so if there's any questions, you might find the answer there. And other than that, if you guys have any other things, anything else to talk about, I would love to chat about yarny things. That's half the reason why I wanted to make a podcast in the beginning, is to make some yarny friends. I am feeling this serious cast on itis for the Beatrix sweater. I already have yarn for it. I have it right over there. I'm looking at it. I plan on using some Nutiden that I have in this like muted sea green color for the Beatrix sweater. I think that'll just be beautiful. I want to knit more socks. I want to knit a pair of like sport weight socks, because I just feel the need for like slipper socks. But I'm not even wearing socks anyway, because it's so hot outside. But I just feel like it. I'm just having cast-on-itis, but I have to finish all these cast-ons that I've casted on already, and I don't have the needles for. So I need some self-control. That's really what I need. Anyway, I'm rambling. I hope you guys have a nice day, and hopefully I'll see you in 2 weeks. So, bye.